Hello everyone, today we're gonna review the Anbernic RG505. It's the successor to the RG503, which I reviewed here previously. But this time, it has Android OS and a much more powerful hardware. It also features Hall effect sticks, which is much more resistant to stick drift. Let's check it out. This time, the box of this handheld is very minimalistic. There's not much information besides the Anbernic logo and the model number. This version is the yellow color. It already comes with a plastic film protecting the screen. In the back, you can see that the battery this time is a 5000 mAh battery. The battery lasts around 8 hours, depending on the usage. On the bottom, you have a slot for the SD card, along with the power button and speakers. On the side, the small button will open the Anbernic launcher for retro games, and the big button will act as the back button for the Android system. On the top, you have inline shoulder buttons, a headphone jack, a DC input, and there's no HDMI output, sadly. On the side, you have the volume buttons, and they are recessed, meaning that you won't have accidental presses. Here you can see the Hall effect sticks. The stick caps look slightly different than the Nintendo Switch model, but besides that, they will operate exactly like the original Joy-Con sticks. They have the same tension and the same clicky response when pressed down. The buttons have rubber membranes, and they feel very similar to other Anbernic devices. The first thing you should do when you get this device is apply the screen protector right away. Doing this will guarantee a perfect installation, as the screen won't have any dirt under the plastic film. There will be no need to use the cleaning wipes if you do this out of the box. See? The screen looks perfect with no bubbles, dirt, or dust. In the box, you'll get a 128GB SD card, already pre-installed with games, and on this small box, you'll get the charging cable. Here's a quick look at the manual. The ergonomics of this device is okay. The analog stick is still located in a bad position for movement. The Dpad and face buttons feels great, and they are very comfortable. The start button have a good travel distance, and the Dpad has a pivot in the center that won't let you press all the directions at once. The shoulder button can be pressed in any point, but the R2 button can only be pressed in a certain angle. Also, while taking a look at the shoulder buttons, I noticed this. They're a bit loose and they rattle a lot in the shell. Here's a look at the recessed volume buttons, and you really can't press them accidentally. On the back, it has rubber pads, similar to the 353P. These pads helps when you're holding the console, and will keep the console from sliding when placed on a table. When you turn this console on, you'll have a system that is pretty much identical to the 353P. But this time, it comes with Google Play Store out of the box. This means that it's much easier to download apps and games. Moving to the D-pad and analog sticks tests, the sticks are Hall effect sticks, but they still have a big dead zone in the axis. The D-pad is good and the diagonals are easy to access. And here you can see how bad the dead zones are. And just to confirm, I approached the magnet to the sticks, and you can see that they react to the magnetic field. And this device is a powerhouse. Here I'm playing Genshin Impact with everything set to high. The only option I disabled is motion blur. For this game, you'll have to enable Anbernic's key mapping option, as it doesn't accept controller inputs. As you can see, it's running pretty well. Even during battles, there are minimal frame drops. But Anbernic's key mapper have a few issues. As you can see, sometimes when moving the camera, it will press the buttons. This happens because when using the stick in camera mode and the touch goes over the buttons, it will trigger them. You can use other key mapper softwares as Octopus, Mantis app, and Panda Gamepad Pro, but all of them are paid apps. See, it even messed up with the location of other buttons. On CPU-Z, you can see that CPU 6 and 7 are running in a slightly lower speed than the rest of them. But if you go to the options and enable high performance mode, it will make them run at the same speed. In theory, this should give you a slight boost in performance. but I couldn't feel any difference in game. Here, I tried to make the game run at a locked 60 FPS, so I turned all the options to low and set the FPS to 60. It is performing better, but it's not stable 60 FPS. You can still see some small dips. Another point is that when you have the key mapper enabled, the side buttons will not work. If you have this issue, just disable the key mapper and they will go back to normal. Moving to other Android games, here's Asphalt 9 Legends. This one runs flawlessly. And you can use motion controls too. Pressing the small side button will bring up Anbernic's Retro Launcher. Here you can quickly select and play any of your ROMs. Pressing the button again will close the Retro Launcher. And to open RetroArch menu, you can press Start and select. On RetroArch, you can configure anything you want. Here you can see that it is running the game with no difficulty. And since this device is much more powerful, you can use a lot of new filters and display settings. With the settings you see on screen, you can have even pixels, even without an integer scaling. Here you can see where to set these configurations. Even Yoshi's Island runs very smoothly. And here's a quick look at all CRT filters that you can use. Some of them can't be applied, but all of the others will run perfectly at 60 FPS. So yeah, this device is perfect to play any retro game you want. With the extra power, you won't have the problems of pixel scaling that you had on the 503. With the normal 2x filter, you can enjoy 4x3 games without any pixel distortion. Since it has the same screen of the RG503, this system is absolutely perfect when playing Game Boy Advance games. Here are the filters for LCD-based displays. Some of them have a motion blur effect. Nintendo 64 also performs flawlessly. But when launching them through the retro launcher, some games will crash. So I recommend that when playing Nintendo 64, instead of using the retro launcher, you should launch games directly through the Mopen 64 emulator.
Okay guys, let me have the first pop, and then they're all yours. schedule anything somehow. What with my friends here? Alright guys, just steady on. I'll sort this out. So, what do you say?
You seem like my kind of guys.
Dreamcast games also runs perfectly well on this device. There are absolutely no slowdowns on Sonic Adventure 2. It is also perfect to play PSP games. Here I'm running all games at 2x resolution.
Troops in disguise. Now, head to the open area above.
Towards Sector 8.
Yes, but first...
Activating combat mode.
Not too bad.
Piece of cake. I'll make first in no time.
Go up the stairs at the end of the platform.
You got it.
Since it has a touchscreen, it is also perfect to play Nintendo DS games. And you can even turn the console vertically for a better experience. Let's move now to the big consoles. For Gamecube, you have Dolphin and Dolphin MMJR2. The standard version of Dolphin won't run games very well. So you must use Dolphin MMJR2. Zelda Twilight Princess runs very well. Star Fox Adventures has small graphical glitches, but it's playable too. Mario Kart Double Dash though has this blue screen. Mario Sunshine, it's not playable. Soul Calibur 2 runs well. Metroid Prime also runs well. Moving to PS2 using the Ether SX2 emulator. Kingdom Hearts runs well.
Sora, you feel lucky today? You're going down.
God of War 2 have small dips, but I think it's okay.
well. At least your stance is correct.
Soul Calibur 3 though is not playable.
My life is not yours for the taking.
Versus Senska. Fight.
Metal Gear Solid 3 is also very slow. Ratchet and Clank is slow. Ape Escape 3 runs well. And Wii games were running on my device, but after I updated the emulator to the latest version, the game stopped working. Then I found out that if you use the menu and open the game file manually, it will run without crashing.
Earthquake? The way the shaking stopped seemed unnatural. Let's return to the village.
And to my surprise, a lot of Wii games runs really well. It's a shame that since this is emulation, you won't have perfect input lag. You will have trouble playing rhythm games like Rhythm Heaven. The emulator will make use of the motion sensors to emulate Wii remotes too.
So this is where a laser is.
Don't worry, we'll get him in no time. This is about to come crumbling down.
taking the Wii remote.
This device has no HDMI output, but it can use the screencast function. And sincerely, it does not work well. Wireless casting is susceptible to lag and interference. In the end, the results will differ depending on the environment. Let's finish with a teardown. The RG503 have 4 screws in the back, and after removing them, you can unclip the back of the console. Here, you can see the 5000 mAh battery, and the clips that hold the back of the console. On the motherboard, you can see the shoulder button and switches. You can also see the Wi-Fi antenna and the Hall effect sticks. This time, the processor is well protected with a metal shield. And perhaps this is the most interesting part of the review. At some point during development, the RG505 had an HDMI output. You can still see the space designed for it on the motherboard. I wonder if it's possible to enable HDMI output if you solder the right components. Unfortunately, I have no idea which components should go in this board. Here you can see the screen connector, which is the same as the RG503 and the same screen as a PS Vita. And this other connector is for the touch digitizer. And it is also visible that it had another slot for an SD card. Perhaps this device could have dual operational systems, like the RG503. Here's a look at the Hall effect sticks. The brand is K-Silver, and they are soldered to this board. The board acts as an adapter, converting the Joy-Con connections which you see here to the RG505. On the other side of the board, the main processor is well insulated, and you can see the high quality of all of the contact pads for the buttons. Here's a look at the Dpad, and the button layout can be changed. If you prefer the Xbox layout, you can open the device and rearrange the buttons. And now for my final thoughts on the RG505. This device is an evolution of the RG503, with the same OLED screen, same resolution, and a processor much more powerful. It can handle a lot of high-quality Android games, as well as some Gamecube, PS2, and Wii games. The screen aspect ratio makes it the perfect GBA and PSP emulation device. The analog sticks have Hall sensors, which will guarantee a high durability, and the battery life is just amazing. The only thing keeping it from being the perfect console is the inline shoulder buttons, the bad dead zones on the axis for the analog sticks, and the lack of an HDMI output. Perhaps in the future someone can figure out if it is possible to install an HDMI output, since the motherboard have the necessary connections, but only time will tell. And that's it for this review. I hope you enjoyed seeing all of the details about this device. You can help me out by subscribing to the channel and sharing this video with your friends. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.